February 4th. We have Deputy Mayor Yankoff joining us online today. I am going to call our meeting to order. Are there any declarations of conflict?
None.
Seeing any. And I have someone approve our agenda today.
Moved.
Moved by His Worship, seconded by Deputy Mayor Yankoff.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Adoption of our minutes of our Planning and Heritage Committee meeting from Wednesday, January 7th. I need someone to move
Moved.
that. Moved, seconded by Deputy Mayor Yankoff. Is there any business arising out of those minutes? Not seeing any. We're gonna move right into our reports and discussions. First is our Planning and Heritage Department 26-27 budget overview and discussion. Who's taking the lead on that?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm happy to take it.
Okay.
So starting on page 9 of your package is the report and a summary of the consolidated planning and heritage budget for 2026-27, including the previous or this current fiscal year budget and our forecasting. So like I said on page 9, we've included kind of a summary of some of the factors impacting our forecast this year. So overall, we haven't necessarily met our spending targets for a variety of reasons. We've had some vacancies in the department and some turnover, in addition to some of our key projects. Because of these vacancies, we anticipate some carryover on our half initiatives where most of the consulting dollars are being spent. And so those numbers are then being allocated and pushed forward into fiscal 2026-27. So the total proposed budget for 26-27 fiscal year is $3,267,688, which represents a decrease of around $10,000 from the current fiscal year. However, I would caution committee on that because we don't have the up-to-date salaries at this point, so we will see a little bit of change in some of these numbers as we continue to work with finance, and I understand there'll be future sessions with, I believe, committee of the whole is the intent. But I've included some of the key factors that influence the planning and heritage budget. Salaries and benefits make up over 70% of the department's total budget. We are budgeting for an increase on staff development, and that's really part of our efforts to increase our capacity on the building inspection side. So we have a few key positions that have joined us recently, and we're looking to get them trained up to move up in the organization as level 2 building officials, meaning that they'd be able to do beyond Part 9 building inspections. Obviously that training comes with a cost, so we're trying to allocate that. It's a short-term cost to try and, like I said, move them up. But Shane and I have been working to secure additional resources, which, if we're successful, would offset some of these costs on the revenue side. And like I mentioned before, on the in the planning services and heritage projects budget line, that really represents a lot of our Housing Accelerator Fund spending. This is primarily consulting dollars that have already been awarded and will be carried forward into this coming fiscal year to finish off the city's initiative list under that Housing Accelerator Fund contract that we entered into a few years ago now. So that work is really primarily related to the zoning development bylaw, accessory dwelling unit, and the pre-approved housing initiatives, and the comprehensive review of the heritage preservation bylaw. Our projects and grants, a total investment of around $300,000, proposed to continue support for our heritage grants and incentives. So that's the direct grants to the property owners and tax incentives, as well as implementation of the accessory dwelling unit grant program, which was part of that Housing Accelerator Fund initiative list. And so just a reminder to committee, we're doing the pre-approved housing design, so that work is ongoing at the moment. And then once that's complete and we have the necessary zoning bylaw changes in place, the city would be offering a direct incentive for people to build these types of units. And I guess to finish my summary, there's no new initiatives planned from the department this year, as we're completely focused on trying to complete all of the initiatives listed under the Housing Accelerator Fund, which wraps up in 2027. So the entire team is completely focused on trying to complete that work at the moment. So with that, I'll maybe turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, and see if there's any questions. I know the team is here to answer any detailed questions you may have, and David Kundram's online.
Thank you. I know Councillor Beck has a question, so we'll start there.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I wanna, just first about the Housing Accelerator Fund, I kinda don't know where we are with that. And I know one time, Donna, we had asked you about, was that maybe a year ago that we did that?
October 30th, 2024. Got the letter right here.
October 30th, 2024? That was the last time we received an
No,
update?
that's when we signed the deal.
No, okay, it wasn't that. We did a kind of a breakdown of, so we had $10.6 million, right? And can we receive, or can council receive for the next, for our council, upcoming council meeting, could we get like a breakdown of where we are with that? Like, where have we, cause I think we were talking about some term positions, we were talking about spending on our heritage preservation bylaw, the ADU and all that. Can we get an update on where we are with all that? Would that be possible to get?
Yeah, through the chair, we could certainly prepare an update for council. We can either circulate it by email or happy to bring it back through committee and council as you see fit.
I think an email would be fine. I don't know if it has to come back through committee. I think it's really just looking for where are we with things. Like I know we kind of had timelines and then we had to push the timelines and for a variety of reasons, which were, I'm not questioning that, but just even so we can get kind of a little bit of an idea of where we are with things, and I think it would be good I think it'd be good. I'd like to know it, and I think maybe others might.
Yeah, absolutely. Through the chair, we're happy to work on that. So there's, again, just as a reminder, there's two key pieces to the Accelerator Fund. One is the initiative list, which is the projects that the team has collectively been trying to move forward. And then the other piece is the dwelling unit count that the city provides reporting back to CMHC on. So we have effectively a growth target that we're working towards. I think it's safe to say our numbers have been very healthy, although we can provide a more detailed update in the future.
Sorry, what's that referring to, Mike? Is that the ADUs, the
The
$10,000
overall count.
grants per?
Our
Through you, Chair, it's the overall count that
It's
we
what?
agreed to, the overall count that we agreed to in terms of the units that we intend to add through the contract period.
Was that 300?
1,500 units.
1,500 units.
1,500, 1,500 units?
Units, yeah.
Supported at 10,000 per unit, is that what it was?
No,
See, that's the kind of stuff I'd like to know.
No, through you, Chair, I'll provide a more comprehensive update on what the initiatives are and outline where we are on each.
That
That'd
would
be
be
great.
really good, yeah.
That'd be lovely.
Deputy Mayor, do you have any questions at this time?
Just to follow up on that, I think that Councillor Beck is correct. Even if that could just be an update to all of council with that, outline of where we're at and what we have left to do, or to at least a committee, and then it can go into the package for council. But one way or the other, it should get to all of council.
Thank you.
Just follow up. So if you said 1,500 ADUs,
Not ADUs, the overall units that we agreed to incent through.
but
the
I
program.
thought in the original, we were looking at providing money, funding to ADUs, $10,000
Yeah.
per unit.
$10,000 for 150.
That's, okay, that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
That'll contribute to the 1,500.
Yes, no, I understand,
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
So could I also ask, On October 30th, 2024, this was signed by Sean Fraser, the Minister responsible for housing, for $10,059,000. What have we spent to this point? Do you have an estimate, 3 million? Would there be a ballpark figure?
Through the chair, we'd have to work with finance to get an exact figure on that. As part of the contract, the city has been doing reporting directly back to CMHC on the spending because as part of the contractual agreement, the city receives money in exchange for
Meeting
completing
the initiatives.
the initiatives and meeting the unit count that our manager was speaking to earlier. So there's an overall target residential unit count that was included in the agreement. But we also have to do, there's restrictions on what the money that came to the city can be spent on. And
Right.
that is kind of what Councillor Beck was alluding to earlier with that spending plan that we had presented to committee and council, I wanna say in 2024. So yeah, we're happy to bring back an update
Thanks.
as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
So, Madam Chair, I think that we've heard that Red Deer, Alberta, is out of the program. Is that correct? That's what I was told,
What program?
out of the half?
They what?
Half,
They
Right.
they came into the program.
They're out of it. Is that what you said?
that's what I'm trying to find out.
Through the chair, that's my understanding as well, just from
Oakville's out of it. Oakville,
reading the
Ontario.
news, that there's a disagreement on meeting some of the initiatives that were included in the original contract, and therefore they, I believe, canceled the contract, but
And am I wrong to say that if there are 8 initiatives,
Yeah.
right? So if we fulfill 7 of them and don't get one of them, do we return all the money or do we cash in at prorated? Like,
through the
you know,
chair.
there's a lot of discussion about the one paid 4 units.
Through the chair, I mean, this has been an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point we have a clear answer on what that response would be. Obviously, we would wanna work with the federal government and our partners with CMHC on making sure, well, we wanna make sure that we're in compliance with the contract as currently stated, and then mitigate risk as necessary if there are things that change as we work through these various initiatives.
So last question, just looking at page 11, not too many departments, do you see that they're actually forecasting what, $650,000 surplus? Is that correct? Because you're looking at revenue of 3.9 million. And for this year, 25-26, you forecasted 4.7, but committed, you're looking at 3.7. So we're not raising rates for anything that we do, like public meetings, that's not in the equation.
Through the chair, obviously the fee review is something that we kind of have an ongoing audit of. We want to make sure that we're in a competitive space and we're recovering costs appropriately, but we want to make sure we are very cognizant of any hardship that those fees may have on the development community, and as a result, residents and potential new homeowners or tenants within the community.
And last question, I think I may be jumping ahead, but we did have 2 bylaw enforcement officers. I know there's a plan to do some grouping here. Is that gonna be something we discuss today or going forward in this budget? Will it be part of the budget, Donna, or?
Through the chair, that's something that we've had ongoing discussion on. All I would say at this point is that you'll have information on that very shortly. It won't be part of this discussion here today, but I would say within this month.
Okay,
Madam
thank you,
Chair?
yeah.
Just one thing, I think, like, we have 8 initiatives, there's a lot of good stuff in there that is going to help the housing situation in Charlton, short term and long term. And I would hate to see that if we don't achieve Oliver, like, I would hate to see it be an all or nothing, like, if you either get all 8 or you get nothing, like, I think there's a lot of really good stuff that's in there that I would hate to see that if we say, well, gee, you didn't get that, so you're out, like, I would be upset, to be honest with you. And I think there's been a lot of good work done by Donna, Janice Harper before, Sue Fraser before that, the ongoing work that's been done, and I think that has to be recognized and understand that those initiatives in and of themselves are very significant.
It's a national program. It's a big country, so the rule that applies in Red Deer, Oakville applies here. So that's what we're facing. This is not a regional,
Okay, well,
provincial program.
Well, if that is the case, and if it is that, then I think there has to be an understanding and recognition for the good work that
Of course.
everyone has done here to try and address. So if we're gonna be overruled or say, no, sorry, you didn't get that, so you're not getting anything, well, I think that's, in my opinion, that's not fair, that's not a fair process, given the amount of work that has gone on and has been done on behalf of the residents of our city. And I would hate to see the baby thrown out with the bathwater when we have so many good initiatives that are still part of it. And whether we achieve them all or not, I don't know. You put goals out and you hope you achieve them, and maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Working on them.
Yeah, and if I can say, Madam Chair, that's why I'm asking, where are we at with that 10,060,000? Like, are we at 3 million, 4 million? Because if we have to pay it back, then we have to take money from other programs or cut programs to pay it, or what? That's
It's good to have those updates anyway, regularly,
of course.
see where we're at, for sure.
I think that information would come in your report, right?
It will.
It will.
Yeah, so through the chair, we'll provide more information on that, detailed information from the start of the program, from when we entered into the contract. I will note that in the current fiscal year, we had budgeted for approximately, $1.8 million of revenue from the Housing Accelerator Fund to offset costs within the Planning and Heritage Department. So that can kind of give you a ballpark of generally what we've been allocating. Not necessarily that has, I wouldn't say that necessarily has been spent this fiscal, because we've underspent, as I noted in the report, but that was the planned spend for this fiscal.
But your revenue is not being supported by half. This is revenue coming from applications, permits and so forth, not half money.
So
Is that in the revenue?
through the chair, we have revenue offsetting planned expenses from
Yes, I understand.
half allocated from the payments from the federal government.
Which goes into revenue.
Are there any more questions at this time on this? I'm ready to move on to the second, this will maybe what you're interested in, your worship. The second item on the agenda is new business update, so on January 7th, you brought forward a list of
I did.
items that
Thank
you would
very
want
much.
addressed. And Deputy Mayor ensured that that was on today's agenda, so I'm gonna turn this over to, is it Donna?
Yeah.
Donna to,
Thank
Hold
you,
on.
Madam Chair. So, as the chair said, the purpose of this report is to provide an update to the committee based on some requests that was made through new business at the last committee meeting. So the first item is the zoning and development bylaw. The Planning and Heritage Department is leading an internal cross-departmental review of the draft zoning and development bylaw with support from Fathom Studios, who happens to be our consultants. We're focusing on operational alignment, service delivery, impacts, infrastructure servicing considerations, enforcement feasibility, and overall clarity throughout the bylaw. Following this review, Fathom Studios, that's our consultants, will consolidate departmental feedback and prepare the first public-facing draft. The city anticipates releasing this draft for stakeholder and public review sometime in February, followed by public open houses at the end of February to gather input for final revisions. Engagement to date shows mixed views on permitting up to 4 units as of right, where appropriate, with both support and strong resistance, particularly in suburban areas linked to neighborhood character, parking impacts, and absentee landlord property management concerns. And all of this came out of our What We Heard report that Fathom prepared after their first round of consultations. A key takeaway is the need for clearer definition of what as of right as appropriate means in practice, including where it would apply and what standards would determine appropriateness. And this we intend to bring forward as the bylaw is updated through our consultants.
Do you mind if we stop after each one and
Oh, yeah,
and
go
provide
ahead,
an
yeah.
opportunity for people to ask questions so that it makes sense?
Yeah.
Your worship, did you have any more
I'm
questions?
listening, I think it's great.
You're good
Yeah.
with that update?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? You're good, Deputy Mayor?
No, not in that. No, great, thank you.
Okay, perfect,
Yes,
thank you.
so
Okay,
Thank
so we'll
you,
move on to
Madam
the
Chair.
Affordable
I
Housing.
move it on to Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, AHAC. So the AHAC has not met since July of 2025 due to administrative staffing challenges. However, we've now changed that, and we have our star, Jason, back in the department. And so we hope to recommence those meetings on March the 10th, 2026. And moving forward, we hope to change those meetings to the second Tuesday of each month. And this we've already run through the chair, and she has confirmed that she's good with this. So that's where we are on that.
And I've looked at the terms of references and stuff, but as with a lot of our advisory committees, and I'm just asking the question, and I know they come through your mayor's office, but what is like what do we, with the work that they do we ever take that information, does it ever actually come back to stuff that we use in our planning or in our, and I'm just asking, not to be disrespectful, I'm just wondering if the effectiveness of.
I had the same question.
Okay.
So for the AHAC committee, this is a requirement through our program, our affordable housing program that we have. So we do offer incentives to persons who provide affordable housing throughout the city. And this is a requirement that was written into the policy that we have a committee of this sort.
But
So
a policy
they're
can be changed if it's not, like, if it's not effective in the bigger scheme. And if it is, that's wonderful. I guess for me, I just don't know what they're doing or what we're using them for. And maybe that shows that's something we can do in an educational session on our advisory groups.
Yeah.
It's not just,
Kind of on
This
that,
one.
kind of on that line, I'd like to know what, and I don't know where, I think this started before my time. When did this start, your worship?
219.
219. So like and I'm not against the committee or anything like that. I'd just like to know, kind of to your point, Councillor McCabe, like, do we continue? Or is it value, is there a return on the investment? Is it a valuable, are we achieving goals that we're setting out to achieve? I don't know, I have no idea.
Well, we should put those measurables on all our advisory committees.
I would agree.
Youth
I
advisory.
wouldn't disagree with
Youth
that.
Engagement Advisory Committee, Senior Engagement Advisory Committee. But I think what it was initially set up, and we just arrived, the affordable housing policy was passed by the previous council, 214 to 218. It was very specific that there would be affordable housing advisory committee, and that committee would be set up. There are terms of reference, I don't have them right here.
No, I know
Yeah.
there are. I'm just wondering if we actually, and it's the same because I've sat on a couple of our working groups and if they have a purpose and then they have a job to do and it's something that's coming back and it's actually practical, then great. I'm just not sure what that is because.
And as we get out of this market, non-market rentals, and we're coming out of low vacancy coming up to like 1%, 2%, you'll see the use or the effectiveness of this committee probably wane out. But right now, I think our vacancy is still at 1%, is it not?
1.6 is the latest I saw.
1.6. Summerside's a little higher, I think.
2.6.
So, you know, it came in when we arrived here with the housing crisis, just kicking in more and more, and then COVID.
And that's great, so what are they doing
Exactly.
that helps us decrease the housing? That's my question, like what is their, what have they
Reports,
been done?
reports were submitted, I think it reports to this,
Committee.
yeah. So when they, and Jason provided the minutes, those minutes were submitted with our planning committee report up until July, and then Jason left, and we haven't seen anything then. So if you go through the minutes, that's where you'd see what was discussed and what was acted on. Correct, Jason?
They're in there and I can send them anytime you want them. The last few sets, if you wanna see them.
Yeah, and I
Prior
can
to
go
your-
back and look,
prior
I
to
guess
your
it's just
departure.
I'm asking staff, what do we actually, they sit and they meet and they make like talk, but what do we do with that information? Does it ever trigger us to go or bring information to us that we actually use?
So, Madam Chair, the last set of meetings, they were looking at the official plan to see how they could provide some feedback in terms of housing, in the direction that the housing should be going for the city. They did not get around to do that because, as you know, the meetings abruptly stopped. So hopefully, when we go back to the regular meetings, they will have something to bring forward on that. They also attended a few of our sessions on the new official plan. They provided support. And they also have looked at what we've done so far for the draft zoning bylaw. So we expect that going forward, that they should have some suggestions to bring forward in terms of the direction that we should go in. And this is clearly
For the zoning
outlined.
development bylaw.
Yeah, and this is clearly outlined in the terms of reference that they've all gotten, they've all reviewed, and so they should be following that.
Well, that's, says they're working, right, so that's. Thank you, is there any other questions on the advisory housing committee? Okay. All right, the heritage preservation, oh, sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Heritage preservation bylaw update, Donna?
Yeah. So the work on the new heritage preservation bylaw commenced in October of 2025, and we are pushing for a completion date of April 2026. So we're working with Intra Studio, our consultants, to update the heritage bylaw. And we are currently preparing for the first round of public engagements, and these are scheduled for February 11th and 12th. They're expected, that's a consultant, to complete a block-by-block heritage integrity analysis of the 500 lot area, reviewing existing permitting and regulatory provisions to improve clarity and implementation, assessing the heritage incentive program for alignment with the updated bylaw, and refining the framework and procedures for temporary and permanent heritage designations. Following the February engagement sessions, the consultants will prepare a draft of the bylaw to support a second round of public engagement, which we expect to have in March.
Any questions?
I do.
Okay,
So, I don't know if this necessarily, I think it does, but I understand that the national database on heritage properties is being terminated, am I correct?
Yeah.
It's being stopped. So that will and that was, from my understanding, that was a one-stop shopping where you could go right across Canada and find out any heritage designated buildings right across the country. Am I correct on that? So is it now going to be incumbent upon individual cities, municipalities, individual provinces? Like, I'd hate to lose all that information, so what's gonna happen? And I guess I'm primarily concerned about Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island. But I'm sure that other municipalities in all the other provinces are probably feeling the same thing, or maybe should be feeling the same thing. So, are we going to be able to salvage that and so that we can still use that for our own benefit and purpose and for benefits right across the island.
Through the chair to Councillor Beck, I've been in talks with the province. I actually started with the city on that program, the HPI. So they are hoping to get copies of that and keep the provincial site going so that we will have access. I also note right now, they are kind of weighing their options. I can certainly update you on that as I know more.
Okay.
Also, I saw that a private individual took it over as well, and is offering it. That
Sorry, what's that?
a private individual actually took the data and put it online from his own, out of his own server.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Source.
so the that's there as well, but I think the province will do something with regard to that. We also have our own material, which is going through I think the new Esri
E-permitting
program.
system.
oh, okay.
So we would have more material even than.
Is that our GIS mapping program? Is that-
So it's the program that will be used to do applications, so development applications will be submitted through this portal that we're creating through Esri. So the public will have the access to submit applications online through that portal. And they'll be able to pay their fees as well. And as part of that public facing portal, we'll provide a link to all the heritage database that we have in the city. So that's what Natalie's alluding to.
And also I should mention, we do have the records from when we sent them to the province, so if anybody is asking in the meantime,
Okay,
I can
so it won't be
certainly-
lost.
No.
So basically what we house here under Esri would also be available on the
Eventually,
provincial,
yes.
if the provincial goes with their oversight of that, that would kind of be available in those two sources?
Yes.
Is that similar, like, and maybe you may know this, are other provinces gonna do something similar? Are they gonna have a provincial oversight where they're gonna contain it? I'm just thinking that if there's someone who's looking for to do historical or heritage work, maybe in the Maritimes or other and it sounds like we've got it, we're on top of it, sounds like we've got it covered. Are other provinces doing that as well too?
Through the chair, I'm not sure at this point, but I can certainly get that information for you, just for your own.
Just for information, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Thank you,
question's gonna be probably really simple, and it might just cause my brain's not working as well. So we're going and we're doing a complete block by block analysis of the 500 lot area to assess current homes that could qualify for heritage preservation.
Designation, yeah.
So this should prevent what we've been seeing a lot more of as far as homes that are coming, right? So we should be able to identify those homes, work with our property owners to say. So this is something that's gonna have to be ongoing though, right? Cause age being one of those things, we're doing this as a one-off, but in 10 years, the homes that were built in 1890 are now bumped into an age generation. Like this is an ongoing project. So do we have a plan where we don't have to keep spending money to get somebody else to do a block by block, but that we have an opportunity to keep being progressive with our heritage bylaw?
It's a good question, Madam Chair, and I mean, Donna and Natalie can jump in as well, but my advice to committee and council on this is no different than the zoning bylaw and official plan. Like these are regulatory documents and background studies that really should be refreshed on a fairly consistent basis. This is something that we should be reinvesting in over time.
That's what I mean, we have to be planning so that we're not
Not like
always
some of
chasing.
Not like some of our bylaws that took 35 years.
Yeah, like I think that does have to be our priority as
Sure.
council, especially as we're coming out with new ones and we know, like we're spending money, that's great, it's an investment. But maybe the next time we can have a plan so our experts can work within that, so it's not having to spend more money.
Precisely, and so further to that, Madam Chair, I think our plan would be in future years, not necessarily having the bulk of work that we're seeing through these past couple of years associated with the Housing Accelerator Fund, but rather try and stagger out that work so that we're not overburdening our team here and making sure that we have the capacity to consistently perform that work.
Because we are gonna age.
So Madam Chair, Natalie, you've been with the city since what, 2005? So you were here in 2018 when this heritage preservation bylaw was amended, correct? Because the version prior to 218 was that any home, any structure heritage structure in the 500 lot was protected by the heritage preservation bylaw. Is that correct? So I'm asking, are we going back to the pre-2018 heritage preservation bylaw? Because that's being asked in the community. For the simple fact is that Charlottetown is an historic city, established in 1765, birthplace of this great country we call Canada in 1864. So is that gonna be part of us going forward, or are we gonna just stay the course and live with post-2018?
So through the chair, the purpose of this study and the review of the bylaw is to establish exactly that. We want to hear from the public on what the vision is for heritage preservation in the community. We're not here to decide that today necessarily,
Just raise the
but
flag.
we want to make sure we have as much information as possible to make sure that community and council can have the best information going into making a final decision.
Yeah, because the amendments, Natalie, I think you remember, were made during the summer of 2018 in July, and other amendments were made too. So on the data bank that Councillor Beck referred to, we do have that, as you said, in storage, but can we not create is there a lot of funding that's required to maintain that data bank so that anyone can access it? Like it's again, you have to look at the history of the city and what we play in this role as a Canadian, not only as a city, but as a capital city too. So is there any plan to create that database?
So through the chair, and again, Don and Natalie can jump in with more detailed information, but our continued investment into the Esri and City Works initiative, our beat permitting and so on, the idea is to have kind of a comprehensive approach to not only development application, but also really have easy public access to all of this background information, whether it's specific to heritage, or it could be even as far as the infrastructure around the community. So it's about reducing
yes.
barriers for future investment and making sure that information is at people's fingertips.
Okay. Affirmative, thank you.
Deputy Mayor, Chair, do you have anything you would like to add on this topic?
No, it's just one of those, one of those things again that we'll really want to encourage the public to get out and share their views on this heritage preservation bylaw so that they are well represented as we embark on this process.
Bang the
Thank
box,
you.
bang the box, man.
The next topic for Donna is the STR owner requirements and taxation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the staff, we're working with the relevant tax authorities to confirm tax policy details that may affect short-term rental operators, including any potential implications for property tax assessments. An update will be provided to the committee once this information is confirmed. Separately though, under the city's tourism accommodation levy bylaw, all STRs operating in Charlottetown must collect and remit to the city a 4% levy that's calculated on the gross accommodation charge that they collect from their guests.
Okay, so you're gonna update, I think you were asking about
I was,
longer term
the
impacts
there were
of
a
the
couple of
property
STR
tax.
operators
Yeah.
that their assessment is no longer residential,
Right.
it's non-residential. And I think that when you go into business and you invest $1 to make $1, well, then you become a capital,
Yeah.
a capital asset, or you're going to a capital category, and that category, I heard this from friends that I know that they didn't know this was what happened. Well, I said, and what happens is that they lose that CPI protection. Our assessment only goes up by CPI. But if you're non-residential, it goes up by the assessment of your property. So it goes up by the market value.
And
And
if they stopped doing it, well, wasn't there a concern that they wouldn't return to a property, residential property again, it would still be considered commercial? They'd still keep it, wasn't there something
there's a
with that?
process, so you
Yeah.
have to go back through the system. And sometimes that system can be
Long time.
slow.
Yeah, so through the chair, the team continues to work with the province on this. We don't obviously deal with property taxation ourselves, so it's difficult for us, like I said in the previous meeting, to really advise people on the taxation impacts of whether it's investment in a property or obtaining a license, whether it's provincial or municipal. So we're trying to connect with the appropriate authorities to get more information so that we are able to better advise.
And just to correct the record, the property doesn't go from residential to non-residential, is that they lose that CPI protection. That's what happens. If they went from residential to non-residential, then the province would be collecting $1.50 on the 100, and we would be collecting $2.36. We don't wanna do that, do we, CPO? Okay.
You have to be a magician to figure out how to navigate who's responsible for what and where to get it and how much to.
We know who's getting their fair share down the street from us.
Thank you. Okay. So, your worship, the last thing you were wondering about, you wanted an update on the about the monument of the BOG and its people.
Thank
Black
you,
Sand Bridge.
Madam Chair. The monument to the bog and its people. So since 2024, discussions have been underway to establish a monument recognizing the bog and its people in Charlottetown. The initiative was originally led by the Black Cultural Society, and momentum slowed following the departure of the society's executive director last year. Staff in the department, as well as staff in the Cultural and Economic Department, will meet with PEI, Museum, and Heritage Foundation this month to confirm next steps. Following these discussions, the foundation intends to bring a proposal as to what this monument will look like to the province's anti-racism table, and that's scheduled to happen in March.
This information couldn't have come at a better time. This is Black History Month.
know.
Thank
The
you.
shortest one.
Thank you. If I could just ask, yes, the executive director has left, but there is a person that is overseeing some of the operations. It would be great if we could reach out to, her name?
Raquel?
Raquel. She's from the Bohemian and she's just great. So she's really willing to open up the doors and say, what do you need from us?
Okay.
But I appreciate that really much, yeah.
I'm doing, before I go into the last section here, do we not have any new initiatives in the budget ask this year through planning?
No.
Like 10 more Shanes?
No.
Yeah, through the chair, we don't have any new initiatives listed in the budget this year. Like I mentioned before, we still have the 2 vacancies for the building inspector level 2 positions. So as I had outlined in an earlier report to committee, I think maybe a year ago now, we've been trying to heavily recruit for those positions, ultimately have been unsuccessful, so we're pivoting and as you can see reflected in the draft budget, trying to focus more on training and staff development to create.
Bump them up to have the opportunity, got it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.
Madam Chair, just before we move on, could I just go back to page 12? Thank you for the update on the meetings, public meetings on the zoning development bylaw. 4 units as of right, you said that there's yays, nays. Do we have numbers, like is it 100 people, like on the surveys? I think what you said that it's mostly in subdivisions, like
Suburban areas.
suburban areas where there's concern. But this has happened in Fredericton, where they've gone with the 4 units. It's happened in Halifax, where they've gone with the 4 units as of right.
Fredericton is 4 units with conditions.
Okay, so if
It's
you,
not a flat statement.
okay, so if that's the case, we should find out what they did in Fredericton. Because I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know what were the conditions, because is it as of right or where appropriate? Like, if Fredericton is checked off that box, well, how can we check off that box when it comes to suburban areas, which I think will be and even maybe down in the 500 lots. So I'd like to find out if we can get that info from Fredericton, and if there are any other municipalities that use that provision with conditions.
So through the chair, just to offer some further clarity on that, just the language associated with the Housing Accelerator Fund, when we talk about 4 units as a right, they're talking about effectively not having a discretionary approval process. So that means that it wouldn't have to go through planning board and council
Public meeting,
for an approval. When we talk about an approval with conditions, that could, and what we've seen elsewhere is that there are kind of performance factors included into the as of right approval.
Okay. Is that your understanding?
I have an understanding of it, I don't know whether, at this point, whether.
No.
I think let's just let the
As we start
process,
to talk about that in
let the
part-
process unfold, and I think let's hear, I don't wanna predetermine anything, or, I just wanted to, for the public record, to know that Fredericton was not just a blank slate. So,
That's the first time, first time I heard about it, when you
you could
mentioned
go,
last time.
you could
No,
Google it
no,
in CBC.
I just wanna make sure that when we go into these public meetings, that is something that we may refer to. Because if all we're gonna hear is nay, 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 but if we come back with something that is already in another municipality, another jurisdiction that was agreed to, we can put that on the table.
And again, through the chair, that's something that we're taking into consideration as we work through this process. Obviously, we refer to practices in other municipalities, but we also want to make sure that we're hearing from our local residents and developers to make sure that we're finding something that's going to fit within the city of Charlottetown.
And I think that was the original purpose of putting as appropriate in, because we didn't know, we wanted to move, we were agreeing with a lot of the general principles of the Housing Accelerator Fund. We didn't want to slow down the process, we wanted to get that moving along. But there was a clear outline at that time that there was gonna be public engagement. There was gonna be a review of our official plan, and there was gonna be updates to our zoning and development bylaw. So the way to kind of, I guess, couch that was to insert that as appropriate. And then the as appropriate would get defined once we get to those final stages. So I think everyone's kind of clamoring for a definition right now, which we just do not have. So I think that's kind of the origin as to why we put that in the first
But
place.
if conditions are part of Fredericton, the city of Fredericton's 4 units, then there must be a definition. And I think
That's
what,
what they,
yeah, so
Rather than
why
making
why
amendments
reinvent the wheel?
and
I'm just
replace
saying,
buildings,
reach
they
out.
can put 4 units in an existing home, that's what it is, according to their bylaw. A home will have to contain a larger primary dwelling and they can make 4
So they
units
can't
within
build a
that,
fourplex.
you can make the adjustments to that building.
but you can't rip it
and
down
you
and put
can't-
up 4.
and so there is the 4 units within those buildings. It had to be owned for a year before you do it.
But if with that, it would be.
Can't be used for short-term rentals, but I mean, we have our own short-term rental policy anyways.
We have a bylaw for licensing.
It's right in there, you can read about it, it's there.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I think is that on Google or is that on the?
That's on CBC.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But there would be more
Oh, you could
technical
definitely get into
language
the
that they
depth,
could-
of course, yes.
Thank
And
you.
again, through the chair, this is something that we're monitoring across the country. There's communities all across Canada there that are navigating this process under the Housing Accelerator Fund. So these are all things that we're referring to and trying to look at what the best practices are. And then ultimately, we wanna hear from the public and get feedback from them on what they think is gonna be a fit in their neighborhood and overall in the city of Charlottetown.
I guess that's one thing, if having your official plan delayed, you'll be able to follow and see what other jurisdictions are doing
Well,
and,
that's,
you know?
I think it's great to, you have to reinvent the wheel.
Are we any closer to getting an answer in our official plan?
Oh,
Sorry,
good question, I think. the-
sorry,
the
no, I
meeting
don't
that-
mean to put anyone on the
No,
spot.
no, the meeting that we had with the minister
Proper venue.
was to, he was to approve it within a couple of weeks, that was a couple of weeks ago, and
Could be
now,
happy.
I think they're now waiting until all the dust settles around what's going on internally with the party, that is the leadership convention.
Well, that's good information for public record too then, so that we're not looking like we're not.
So the short answer is it's imminent,
We are, fingers crossed.
according to the province, it's imminent.
I'm sorry,
According to the province, it's imminent, like we'll be having an answer
we
for
were told at the meeting with Minister Deagle that would be within a few weeks, and since updated that it will probably be a couple more weeks before we receive anything.
We need that stamp of approval to move on.
Proceed with the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
It's your foundation.
Yes, because we can't move on with our zoning and development bylaw till we get sign off on the official plan.
Right. Thank you. Is there any introduction of new business today?
Thank you.
I'm not seeing any. I need someone to motion to adjourn. Seconded by,
Thank you.
To adjourn.
thank you, thanks Joanna, Deputy Mayor, everybody have a good night.